Ladies and gentlemen, would like to welcome you aboard. We kindly ask that you fasten your seatbelt.
And eat your fucking nuts. This is Confessions on the Fly with
LJ
and Flight Attendant Joe. All right, everyone. Welcome to the first ever episode of Confessions on the Fly with...
I'm LJ.
And I am Flight Attendant Joe. Thank you guys for being with us. We're very excited to be here.
This is very exciting.
I'm very excited, LJ. I'm so excited. I can barely fucking handle it.
Oh my God.
I'm so
Here
excited.
We go.
What?
I feel like I should keep like a running tally of like how many times you swear.
Why do I have a feeling this is going to be bad for me? Because I
Just
swear.
for fun.
Oh my God. Well, what now if I don't swear? Fuck. Oh no,
Well,
I'm going to
there you
say.
go.
Was that one or two? I wouldn't count that second one.
Okay, I'm going to start with one.
Okay, we're going to do one.
One.
Oh my God, I'm already one in. This is crazy.
Hey.
We want to welcome you guys to our first podcast episode ever.
Hey, this is exciting.
This is very exciting.
We've been talking about this for a while,
We
so I
have.
think that this is good that we're making it happen.
Okay, now let's tell everyone, because they're probably like, why do we care?
Who are you? I don't care at all.
Nobody knows who we are.
Nobody
So
does.
why?
My mom doesn't call me back, let's be honest. It's cool.
Why would she? It's going to probably be a very depressing conversation.
Really?
Stop it.
I love you, Mom.
Oh,
love
but
you, Daddy.
listen, let's tell everyone what is the purpose of our podcast.
I think the purpose of our podcast, I feel like this is a Jeopardy question. The purpose of our podcast is to, I think, entertain and educate the flying public.
Oh.
How's that?
I think that's fantastic.
Nailed it.
Did you write that just now?
Sure.
Did you literally just come up with that?
Yeah.
You should write all my stuff for me because
You're
that's
welcome.
amazing. But no, that's exactly
I think, yeah.
the whole purpose of this is to educate and bring awareness to the flying public, but make it a little fun.
Absolutely.
And if we take our tops off,
So be it.
so be it. Like if these boobs have to make an appearance, and I'm not talking about yours.
Not mad at it.
Actually, I just bought medium-sized T-shirts the other day.
Oh, how did that make you feel?
Well, I washed them and then I put them on high heat, and I basically had to stretch them onto me. And
It's like Spanx.
oh my God, it's
like a
incredible.
body glove.
I feel so skinny. I'm not wearing them now. I feel fat, but when I have them on, I can't breathe, but I feel good.
Then I know I look good. When I can't breathe, then I know I look pretty.
Is that how you are in your uniform? Can you breathe in your uniform?
Oh yeah, I feel like my uniform makes me look like a nun no matter what. Like no matter what, I'm not.
And that's probably what you're telling pilots. None.
None.
You're not getting
No,
any of
absolutely.
this. Stop looking.
Stop looking.
That's ridiculous. But
Absolutely.
what I wanted to talk about today was specifically animals on the airplane. Now, what do you think about that? Is that something that we should talk about?
I absolutely think
It's
that should be. It's been in the news a lot, and I feel like we should address it because I feel like a lot of people don't know the differences of what kind of animals are on planes. I feel like we get this question a ton of times. I feel like we should definitely address it.
Well, I'm thinking that right now there's been so much uproar on the airline industry with animals, service animals, comfort animals, emotional support. I have a pet.
I have a
This
peacock.
is a peacock. Oh my God, that's so crazy that you said that.
Oh my God.
So, and just the other day, did you hear about what happened on Southwest Airlines where this emotional support animal was in the front row and this little girl came on and she went to approach the dog and they were like, no, don't come near the dog. And then she did, and the dog nipped at her face and caused like an abrasion or actually an open,
Like a wound?
She cut.
She got bit.
Thank you. God, it took me all that just to say the kid.
child got bit.
This is going to be a long podcast.
No, it's not. Love you.
That's amazing. No, Joe, I'm going to cut you off.
I will.
You have to.
I will.
Because I will just...
Don't worry. So she got bit.
Yes, she got bit. Now...
And now is the parents like suing the airline or something?
I don't know if they're suing the airline, but my question is...
So was it technically an emotional support animal, a service animal, or a pet?
Now...
What was it listed as?
I believe it was an emotional support animal, which...
I think first we need to address that there are different types of animals that are on a plane.
I agree.
Okay. So there's three categories. Usually there's three categories of animals on planes. There's a service animal, there is a emotional support animal, and then there is a classified pet. And each one has different rules that they need to follow.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Yes. So let's start with this one,
Great.
emotional
Let's
support,
start
because
with
this
that.
is the one that
Great.
attacked and almost killed
So
this
the
child.
emotional support animal is supposed to provide support for the passenger.
Right.
Not the other way around.
Not the other way around. And they're supposed to be calm.
Correct.
They're not supposed to be aggressive at all.
Correct.
They shouldn't attack anyone, even if it's a little child that's poking at them, I guess. I don't know. Like, my whole theory on this is who's right and who's wrong. Because if you tell a child, don't come near my dog,
Yeah.
and then the child doesn't listen, and the dog nips at your child,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm that angry at the dog as much as the brat who wouldn't fucking listen.
But also, you have to take into account it's a child. You know what I mean?
I understand that. Where's the parent?
Where is the parent?
If I'm walking on board, because apparently it happened while they were boarding. So the dog was in
Yeah.
what is that called? I don't work on an airplane.
The bulkhead?
The bulkhead, thank you. Listen, I barely know the words. And the dog was
How many years have you been in the industry?
over 10.
There you go.
So the dog's
You're
in the,
brand new. You're on reserve.
Listen, a big yes. So the dog's sitting in the bulkhead. Apparently the parents and the child come in. The kid wants to go to the dog. They say, no, don't come near my dog. They walk away, but the kid comes back, and then the dog nips the kid. So
I understand boarding is a little hectic. You have bags, you have children, you have too many bags, too many things, you know, carrying blankets and babies and all this bottles and whatnot. So if you have your child and you're trying to like maneuver them through the boarding process, you're going down an aisle. You should be going straight there.
Right.
If there's a holdup, the child's stuck up front with the dog, reaching for the dog a couple times, and you're trying to hold the child back. I don't know who's at fault in that situation, because if the person who owns the dog is saying, don't touch the dog, and they are holding their own dog, whether it was the dog on...
I believe from a picture I saw online, the dog was not in someone's lap. It was
Okay,
like
so it was
on the
floor. On the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was sitting on the ground. But also, that person can't, like, hold the dog's mouth.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can't do that during boarding.
Is it just one of those situations where everything happened and aligned to cause
of course.
a situation?
A little chaos.
Right, a little chaos.
And the dog is protecting itself, too. You have to think about
Right.
that. It's not a human. It doesn't know what's going on. It
Right.
sees somebody reaching after them or going after their face or whatnot.
Right.
If somebody reaches after my face, I'm going to...
I may attack them
I may
myself.
bite you, too.
Right, I understand.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's true. There was this person who tweeted something
you have tweets?
about, I have tweets. I'm very prepared for
love
this
it.
episode. Why are so they tweeted this to Southwest. It was flight 1904 that this happened on.
Cool.
Why are dogs on the plane? Never again will I fly Southwest Airlines.
Okay, first of all, animals are on all planes at this point.
Absolutely.
I don't think there is an airline that does not have or does not permit animals, right?
You know, I can't, I don't know for sure, but I know all the ones that I know of have animals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's so funny because I was working a flight about a month ago,
Mm-hmm.
and we had this woman from Ireland who had flown from Dublin to New York
Mm-hmm.
and then was on us to California.
Gotcha.
And she was sitting in a row with a dog.
Okay.
And it was a pet, so it was
it's
in a
classic-
carrier.
Okay. Because a pet, there's different rules with animals. So a classified pet has to stay in the carrier the entire time, and it has to fit underneath the seat in front of you or on your lap in the carrier. It cannot come out of the carrier.
Right.
Just
so
to give the heads up.
Yes. So she was in the window seat,
Okay.
and this pet and this owner
Okay.
were in the aisle. And she, before we closed the airplane door, she was like, "This is ridiculous. What kind of country am I in? You allow dogs on an airplane. This is horrible. I don't want to sit by a dog." And I said, "Well, you're in the window and the dog's in the carrier in the aisle seat."
Yeah.
And she was attacking me verbally while I was closing overhead bins to the point where I finally had to say, "Well, ma'am, there's a flight in 2 hours, but there
If
could
that
be
would
if that's
be-
what you want to take.
Yes.
But the dog has to stay. The owner has to stay because they bought a ticket. If you have a problem with that, you can always take the next flight, but I can't promise there won't be a dog on that flight."
Correct.
So she complained the entire flight
Of course.
about a pet.
There was no way to move that passenger anywhere.
No, we were completely
Full. So I understand that is also an issue. If somebody, I had this weekend.
Right.
I work a very minimum schedule.
Lucky you.
I dropped down my hours to very, very little. So I had a flight this weekend, and there was a cat on board.
Ooh, I love cats on the plane.
You love cats on board.
I love them.
But
They're my favorite.
The people in the back of the plane were highly allergic to cats. So we had extra space, so we were able to move them to the front of the cabin so that they would be away from the animal. But I do understand it is recycled air. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So if somebody is highly allergic to, and they were itching, and they did have, what are those, inhalers? Okay. Asthma.
So were they seated next to the cat?
At first they were.
Okay.
But also that pet wasn't listed right away. They tried to sneak on the pet without in like just a regular carry-on. And it's moving.
No, it was a cat?
It was a cat. It was moving, and then the gate agent caught it right when they were boarding, and I was like, that's an animal. Like, I could see it's moving.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
They tried sneaking a cat?
Yeah, because they had to go on, because you have to pay for a pet to be on an airplane.
Right.
So the gate agent had to come down and tell them they're getting charged for a pet, and blah, 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 blah. So, and again, it's during a boarding process. We don't have hours to board. They want us to board the plane, close the door, move on. Because everybody, you don't want to be late. Passengers complain about being late all the time. Well, it's stuff like this that takes time. You're sneaking on a pet. You have to pay for the pet. Boarding takes a while. Somebody's allergic to an animal. We have to move those people away from the animal.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's not just like, I wish it was easy that everyone just, sit down and not be allergic to an animal.
Oh my goodness, our jobs would be so easy if everyone just sat down.
But I feel I have compassion for those people because I'm like, I would be miserable too. My friends are highly allergic to cats. I'm allergic to cats. That's why I've never been to your apartment.
I know, and my cats are very sad and they wish
cute.
Why isn't LJ visiting? Because she hates you.
She hates you.
She'll die. Yeah. She will die if she comes here.
I don't want to die.
Let's talk about service animals. Service animals are animals that
are working.
They have a job. They are actually trained.
Yes.
They're trained to, if you have a seizure, they're trained to let you know. If you're visually impaired, that is important, that you have a seeing eye dog with you. So service animals have a job.
Correct.
The problem I have with service animals are the ones that are not well behaved on board the airplane.
I have never had a service animal not be well behaved.
I had a dog once who barked through the entire flight.
Service animal.
Yeah, so I kept having to come over to the passenger and say, "Are you about to have a stroke?"
Yes.
It's like something happening.
Because we're trained to respond to a medical situation.
Right.
So we need to know that information of like, are you going to have a stroke right now?
Right. Like if you have a seizure, if you have seizure disorder.
To tell the captain we need to divert?
Like you have a seizure disorder and your dog is a service dog trained to alert people that you're going to have a seizure and your dog hasn't fucking stopped barking.
I'm going to mark that down just a
And by the way, I did say fuck before. So now this is 4. Yeah. Like your dog is barking. So I have to come and say, "Are you okay? Are you about to have a seizure?"
Yes.
No, she's just anxious. Well, she should be anxious.
Yeah, no.
Did I say the word wrong?
That's
anxious?
Okay.
I sounded like I was from another country. Is she okay? Like, she shouldn't be anxious.
Yeah.
She should be calm and only bark and alert me when you're about to die.
I've never had a problem with a service animal. Emotional support animals, most of the ones that I've encountered are fine. Mm-hmm. But if the emotional support animal is more anxious or, stressed out than the person, if you're calming down your emotional support animal, that's a problem to me. Because again, it is extremely easy nowadays to get paperwork that says your animal is an emotional support animal. So I think there is the extreme of people taking it way too far just because they want their pet to travel.
Right. And they don't want to pay the fee.
And they don't want to pay the fee for a classified pet. Right. And don't want to have to follow the rules of a actual pet, which is it stays in the carrier underneath your seat or it stays in the carrier on your lap.
Right. Let's, a couple, was it last month? It was actually at the beginning of the month. When that person tried to bring on a cock. Like, I'm sorry, the Peacock. Now, the only cock I want on board an airplane is usually attached to one of the pilots or a Hawkeye in 5C.
Oh, my God.
I don't need a cock that's spreading its wings. What was that about?
The only cock I want is, like, my in-flight boyfriend.
And Do you really want that cock?
No, I don't.
You're the only one who doesn't.
No.
No, but seriously, like, I've been dying for that cock joke.
Oh my god.
Since I sat down.
I know.
I really love that joke.
No.
Apparently,
I can't.
it was an emotional support
Peacock.
animal.
Emotional
Peacock,
support. Well, they tried to get it on as emotional support peacock.
and it was on United, and it was out of New Jersey. What's wrong with your people?
Giving us a bad name.
It's your people.
I know,
You're from
it's my
New
people.
Jersey.
I'm from New
Yeah.
Jersey.
So,
Proud of New Jersey, too.
They actually bought the Peacock a ticket. Okay, so here my cock has a ticket.
You're gonna make me spit up my beer.
I'm bringing. Oh, she's drinking. Boobs are coming out soon. So I bought my cock a ticket, and I'm trying to bring my cock on board. They basically say that you can bring your cock on, and then all of a sudden, no, you can't. Right.
You can't bring an emotional.
Apparently, this peacock is a celebrity too.
Oh, it's a celebrity peacock.
Yeah, it's like photographed, and it's a pretty important.
Oh my god. We explained to this customer on 3 separate occasions before they arrived at the airport. An airline spokeswoman said in a statement on Tuesday for the Washington Post.
Right. So they told them you can't bring it on, but they bought a ticket.
The peacock's name's Dexter, by the way.
Oh, wasn't he a murderer? Wasn't that a TV show?
He has his own Instagram account.
Oh my god, we should look him up.
We should. He's a celebrity. We should tweet him.
We should tweet him and literally say that we're talking about him right now.
6 hours trying to get on a flight to LA.
I'm looking at Dexter the Peacock. You can literally type in Dexter the Peacock.
After following protocol.
There's a picture of him with a microphone. Look at that.
That's insane.
He's more famous than us.
He had a drive across the country.
They drove him across the country, which I feel like that's how you're supposed to get your peacock across the country, because peacocks don't belong on airplanes. But then But I think the bigger picture is the craziness of the world. Because right before that, or right after that, there was the girl on Southwest Airlines, the student on Southwest Airlines, who flushed her hamster.
I can't even get it. You told me about this too.
She flushed her hamster down the toilet
because they apparently said that the flight attendant told them to flush
the gate agent. The gate agent said, you can't bring your hamster on board, you have to flush it down the toilet.
I don't think that would ever, you can't,
Who the fuck says that? That gets 2 fucks. Fuck.
Oh God, that's
ridiculous. Like, who? First of all, the airline Spirit came out and said, "Listen, yes, we told her she couldn't bring her hamster on board because there's certain animals.
I was going to just say that
you can't bring on board."
Federal guidelines specify that airlines must permit passengers with disabilities to board with trained service animals or emotional support animals of many types, regardless of the animal's potential to offend or annoy others on the plane. But airlines do have some guidelines to deny boarding to certain animals, including snakes and other reptiles, ferrets, rodents, spiders, and that can prevent them from boarding if the animal poses a threat to the safety of others.
And also loud people flying to West Palm Beach. I'm just going to add that in there. And I think a hamster is a rodent.
Yeah, technically,
right? So you can't.
It's a rodent.
But she flushed it down the toilet. So this has nothing to do with them. You're crazy.
I think that's your own. You saw the only option you had was to flush it down the toilet.
Don't take the flight. Bring the hamster home.
Come back tomorrow.
Come back. Hi, can I get listed on another flight so I don't have to flush my hamster down the toilet?
I don't know. There's many other options.
Well, I don't get it. And
why do we jump to
It really stresses me out.
I know.
It really stresses me out. And this is why I feel like this episode is so important to talk about animals, because you don't have to flush your hamster down the toilet. Don't bring your hamster to the airport.
Don't bring a reptile.
When you buy a ticket on board an airplane online, you acknowledge all their rules.
Correct.
Nobody fucking reads them. Excuse my language.
That's okay.
Okay? Nobody reads the
rules. Nobody reads the rules, but nobody listens to us anyway.
Right. Well,
that's a whole other thing.
And then they come on board and they say, and I don't want to sound bitchy, but I sound bitchy. But then they come on, passengers come on, well, they told me this. No, nobody told you could bring your hamster on board. Okay. And nobody told you to flush it down the toilet. I just have a problem.
I think those are just really interesting, within the span of a month or so. Don't die.
I'm choking on water over the hamster thing.
There you go.
Sorry. Oh, whew. This gets me all worked up. My whole neck is so red. You could probably cook an egg. You could probably cook a hamster on my neck. I think they eat those in Peru. But go ahead.
My God.
I'm sorry. I've gone way off track. I've gone way off track.
All good. But I think I don't even know. I just think that there's, we should do a wrap up. Let's do a wrap up of the types of.
We talked about pets.
Yes.
We talked about service animals.
Yes.
And we talked about emotional support
Correct.
animals. And I think it's also important to state that a few airlines now, because of these situations, are coming out with new policies.
Yeah.
Like I know Delta for sure is coming out where you have to give more of an advance notice before you can just walk up to the gate and say, I have this emotional support animal.
Or I have an animal.
Like I have to go it's like 48 hours now. You have to provide information, which I think is important because you shouldn't just be able to walk up and say, I have this hamster. And then have to flush it down the toilet.
And have to flush it down the toilet. I think it's also interesting that all of these instances are in the news recently. Within a short amount of time, there's a peacock, a dog biting a girl's face.
Right.
There's a hamster. I think there's just a lot happened all at once, which I think is good to a certain extent because now they have to address it. They have to address the issues that we have with animals on planes. It's getting out of hand because I feel like the airline industry, the airline itself, is so used to giving passengers everything they could possibly want, whatever they want, and now it's literally like biting them in the ass.
Yeah, I think you are right, and yes, biting them in the ass or biting little girls' faces. I mean, yes. I would be happy if I was a parent.
I would be livid.
I would not be happy.
If my child got bit by an animal on a plane, or if my child was allergic to a cat, I would lose my marbles.
Well, what if you were working and got bit by a dog?
Oh, bye.
Like, what if you were flying
That's going to bring me to a whole nother episode.
Over Omaha or something, and all of a sudden, boom, dog bites you.
Land. You have an incapacitated flight attendant.
I mean, just think about that. Personally, I think
safety is the number one priority.
The only animal, yes, safety is the number one priority, which makes me laugh. You just said that, and I just thought of when I flew here today. I was flying on an airline, I won't mention them, and there was going to be turbulence. It was a 45-minute flight, and the captain came over the PA and said, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be turbulence today on our 45-minute flight, so we're going to have the flight attendants remain seated for the entire flight. Okay. Safety is our number one priority.
Great.
Your Diet Coke is number 28 on the list of importance.
I love him. Is he single?
I almost boned up.
I would totally bone up.
I was like,
Lady
my pants
boner,
are tight.
like on fire.
I was the only one. Now, there was 70 open seats on this flight, so we were spread out. I did my laugh. No one else laughed because, they probably thought we're never going to make it 45 minutes without a Diet Coke. But I thought that was amazing.
I completely agree.
So I know that went off subject.
No, but I love that.
But you said that.
I'm
and
so turned on right now.
I'm like, I loved him. I was like, is he hot? I was looking down the aisle. I was like, how do I find out who this guy is? Does he like to go like five different ways? Because I'll take any way he wants to throw at me.
Love it.
Love it so much. So I just think that it's important to make sure that people understand when they're coming on board. There's 3 types of animals.
Correct.
So when you're sitting there and you're like, why is my dog not allowed
to sit on my lap openly?
Right, because it's a pet.
Correct.
It's not an emotional support.
Correct.
It's not a service animal. Honestly, to be honest with you, I think my answer to all this is the only animals that should be on board an airplane are animals that have a job. Service animals. If you can't handle flying on a airplane, almost got it. If you can't handle flying on an airplane for 2.5 hours without Fluffy, like whatever happened to taking a Xanax and a shot of whiskey and napping for 2 hours? Pets, you can ship pets.
Correct.
What were you going to say?
I will say I have been waiting, because I've only been flying for a very short time. I have been waiting for Eliza Schlesinger and her dog Blanche to be on one of my flights.
So
much because she has an emotional support animal, and
Blanche is amazing.
am obsessed.
Did you see her Instagram the other day?
I see her Instagram every day. All I do is sit home and watch her Instagram and what she's eating and what her and Blanche are doing. I'm so sad.
No, it's amazing. And she...
I want her and Blanche to be on a flight, so it will make my life.
Well, she had some posts. She put some picture on Instagram where people want to hold Blanche. I would be like, I don't know how I'm going to do service because I'm going to have to hold Blanche for the whole flight. Because that dog literally, it looks around like... I don't know what's happening, but I know I'm well off. She's amazing.
Living the life. But again, that's the ideal situation of what an emotional support animal should be.
Shouldn't be attacking.
The animal is extremely calm, majestic, and she's just a little lamb.
That is you know what I mean? She is a little lamb, and I'm glad that you brought that up because you literally just made me switch and say, okay, well, maybe not all animals on board the airplane are bad. Maybe they just need to be doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Correct. I think that's the thing.
And the problem is the people.
Correct.
Because, hey, I have my dog that's so misbehaved, but it's an emotional support, and now it's attacking people. That's so it all comes down to humans. Yay. So humans learn how to handle your fucking business with your animals on board the airplane. Don't try to bring peacocks. Don't flush hamsters down the toilet. And we'll be fine.
Everybody will be great. And then I'll get you a Diet Coke.
Then I'll get you a Diet Coke, which is number what? 28 on the list of important things.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, it's so ridiculous.
I don't think we could end this episode any better.
That was fun.
That was really fun.
This was our first episode.
Thanks for joining us. We loved having you.
Oh my God,
and let me
thank
just
you
give
guys so
a
much.
running tally. 1, 2, 3, 4. 10!
I swore 10 times.
10 times!
In 30 minutes?
Hey.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
That's literally not bad.
I love it.
Before we wrap up, I do want to send a shout out to Nate Gresham,
Yay!
who is hosting us in his studio here in Hollywood. Thank you, Nate. If you want to reach out to Nate, he does live in the Hollywood area, thumbwarproductions.com, or you can email him at thumbwarproductions@gmail.com. He has an amazing studio. We love it. When I walked in, thought I was going to be filming porn, but nope, just a podcast.
Just a podcast.
So I guess I'm okay with that too. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We are loving it.
Love it. See you next time.
Thank you.